Today, lads, we're going to be talking about Caitlin Clark and Unrivaled.
And it looked like the Unrivaled CEO has broke his silence about Caitlin Clark turning.
A major CEO just dropped a bombshell about Caitlin Clark, exposing hidden issues that have been kept behind closed doors. These revelations won't be covered by sports networks, and behind the scenes, players are jumping ship and billion-dollar agreements are falling apart. The world of women's basketball is spiraling, and what's brewing beneath the surface is darker than anyone expected. I've uncovered information that could put careers at risk, and it's time to reveal what's really happening.
They're not doing whatever they can to try to get Caitlin Clark in for next year, because look, she's not going to be playing this year. But you just never know. She might just decide, you know what?
Screw it. The secret is out, and it's bigger than anyone expected. The CEO finally broke his silence about Caitlin Clark, and what he revealed changes everything we thought we knew about women's basketball. Before we get into this bombshell, understand this isn't just about a $1 million deal anymore. This is about a complete transformation of the sport. I've spent the last 48 hours digging through every detail of this story, and what I found is nothing short of explosive.
Unrivaled CEO Alex definitely did an interview and he spoke about Caitlin Clark. Last time we talked about Unrivaled, Kelsey Plum was the latest player so far to drop out of this Unrivaled league. The news shook the world. Everybody was shocked by it. I'm here to tell you it was
There's a lot happening behind the scenes that mainstream media refuses to touch. Let's start with the so-called expansion from 30 to 36 players. They want us to believe it was all about Alyssa Thomas, but anyone who understands this business knows you don't restructure an entire league for one player. The timing is what really raised red flags. Sources inside the organization told me this move was a desperate attempt to save face, not some strategic upgrade.
Save face because he's letting it be known, they did everything they had to do to possibly persuade Caitlin to come. They did everything they did, to get her to come to this league. But unfortunately, like we ultimately know, Caitlin Clark team released a post to ESPN stating that she will not be taking part in the...
Here's what's really happening behind the scenes with that $1 million offer to Caitlin Clark. It wasn't just about getting her to sign on. It was about survival. The league had already moved forward under the assumption she'd be part of it. Massive marketing campaigns, merchandise plans, and TV commercials were all built around Clark becoming the face of Unrivaled. But here's where things get intense. Contacts in the television industry say TNT is now panicking over the media deal they signed, a deal built entirely on projections that relied on Clark's star power. Without her, the numbers suddenly look far less appealing, and now there's talk of renegotiations, lowered expectations, and executives who are getting very anxious. They're in real trouble right now, even though TNT already put a major media deal on the table.
A heap of trouble, though. TNT gave them a media deal for this league. It was selling a bunch of tickets prior to all this information came out about Caitlin, and ever since then, it's just been looking real bad for the...
In that interview with The Ringer, the CEO tried to play it cool, but here's what's actually happening. When he said they respected her decision and hoped to see her next year, that was pure damage control. Behind the scenes, there were heated discussions, multiple revised offers, and even last-minute attempts to change her mind. People close to the negotiations told me things were far more tense than the CEO let on.
League leaves spot open for WNBA star. Caitlin Clark's decision to skip the inaugural season of Unrivaled has now been confirmed by its president. And so, just like I stated, man, Alex definitely is confirming that, they spoke to Caitlin team. I don't know if they spoke to her specifically, but he claiming that...
Here's the part no one is talking about. While everyone focuses on the domestic fallout, the global picture is far more complicated. International markets are watching closely, and I'm hearing European teams are preparing major offers for WNBA stars, seeing this moment as their chance to capitalize on Unrivaled's vulnerability. The league had already locked in partnerships, sponsorships, and investments based on a projected roster, and now those deals are being reevaluated. The numbers I've seen aren't pretty, and the ripple effect on other players is massive. Agents say their clients are getting anxious after seeing what happened with Wilson, Clark, and Plum, and some are beginning to question their own commitments. Even the Indiana Fever, who thought they struck gold with Clark, are now caught in the middle of a power struggle they never asked for. The league is scrambling, debating whether to build its own off-season structure or partner with existing leagues, while promotional shoots, media plans, and events built around players who won't even be there are falling apart. The expansion that was blamed on Alyssa Thomas conveniently left out key details, especially the growing concerns around player safety. Unrivaled pitched itself as a way to keep players from going overseas, but now the uncertainty is pushing many to reconsider that path. I've seen documents showing how heavily their financial model relied on star power, and without those players, the entire foundation becomes shaky. They're trying to patch holes by reaching out to other players, but the momentum and prestige have already taken a hit. The long-term effects could reshape women's basketball entirely, and the old cycle of relying on overseas income may be here to stay, which isn't great for the sport's growth in the U.S. The next few weeks will be crucial. Despite the CEO's attempt to stay positive, the reality behind the scenes is far more troubling. More announcements are coming, more players are weighing big decisions, and more moves are being made that could redefine the future of the sport. And here's the most shocking part. My sources at TNT showed me the actual audience projections they were working with, numbers that, with Clark, would have rivaled several NBA regular season games. Without her, those estimates are dropping by 40 to 50%. This isn't a small adjustment. It's a complete recalculation of the league's value. I've seen internal documents showing sponsorship deals with major Fortune 500 brands, companies that had already committed millions based on the league's star power. These weren't basic endorsements. Entire product lines, marketing campaigns, and national ad pushes were being built around top players. And the ripple effect reaches college basketball too. NCAA coaches say their players are watching closely, and the dream of staying in the U.S. year-round suddenly looks uncertain. Top recruits are already asking about overseas opportunities before they've even graduated. Unrivaled's entire business plan relied on a 3-year growth model. Year 1 to establish credibility with stars like Caitlin Clark, Year 2 to expand the player base, and Year 3 to push internationally. Now, that whole timeline is collapsing. I've seen practice venue contracts that are still unsigned because the league used star power as leverage for better terms, and without it, they'll pay more for fewer options. No one's talking about the insurance fallout either. Multiple leagues create complicated coverage gaps, and players are being pushed into dangerous situations where their careers could be at risk. Social media tells the same story. Engagement data shows a drop of more than 60% after Clark's decision, wiping out millions of potential fans and shrinking the algorithmic reach almost overnight. Meanwhile, international teams are offering luxury apartments, private chefs, drivers, and even educational perks that the U.S. system can't match. Publicly, the WNBA is neutral, but behind the scenes, they're running feasibility studies and talking with potential partners about launching their own off-season league. This could be the pressure they needed. Agents are also uniting, discussing a unified bargaining front demanding standardized contracts, guaranteed protections, and consistent medical coverage. A shift that could reshape the entire global structure of women's basketball. And then there are the investments Unrivaled had already locked in, millions poured into streaming platforms, mobile apps, and digital infrastructure that may now need to be scaled back because creators aren't sure they'll get paid. It's so serious that some major sports agencies are telling their clients to avoid participating altogether. When agents start warning players about jeopardizing their WNBA careers, trouble is brewing. Even future graduates who once viewed Unrivaled as their next step are now considering other paths as the college pipeline begins to break apart. Some players are now accelerating plans to go overseas, while others are exploring opportunities in entertainment or related sports, and the talent pool for the upcoming season is shrinking fast. Mental health experts are also raising concerns because these athletes are under immense pressure to juggle multiple contracts, choose between competing opportunities, and stay at peak performance year-round. The psychological strain is real, yet barely discussed. Innovation plans are being abandoned too. Unrivaled had ideas for new rules, scoring tweaks, and in-game tech, but without stable rosters and star support, none of it can move forward. The merchandising situation is even worse. Player-specific products are already in production, with warehouses full of items that may never sell, risking millions in losses. Some retailers are holding off on canceling orders simply because the timing couldn't be worse for a sport experiencing unprecedented growth. If more stars follow Clark's lead, if sponsors keep pulling back, or if venues begin to cancel, we could see a league collapse before it ever fully launches. And this isn't speculation. These are real conversations happening right now. Yes, social media engagement is surging, TV ratings are rising, and young fans are more invested than ever, which could force the industry to finally confront long-standing issues. But this volatility threatens progress at a critical moment, especially with unresolved concerns around pay schedules and healthcare coverage. Sometimes it takes a crisis to spark real change. Looking ahead, there are 3 likely outcomes. The project survives, but in a drastically altered form. The WNBA steps in with its own summer solution, or American basketball accepts a new global reality where overseas leagues dominate. Players will be making big decisions in the months ahead, and I'll be here to break everything down. This is no longer just about basketball. It's about the future of women's sports, athlete empowerment, and the entire entertainment landscape. The choices being made right now will echo for years.